And I know you might not want to. So you speak on this as much as you want to. But since we're talking about it, Joe Burrow.
Oh, I knew this was coming.
Was Nebraska ever close on Joe Burrow? Because you were there for both staffs.
Both staffs.
Missing on him as Husker fans like to say.
You can say
it's all Kenny's fault.
No, we're not gonna do that. Now.
He looked at the tape and said, "I don't see."
We're not gonna do that. So there was a coaching change.
Yep.
And I was approached and was told that I was going to stay on. And then they said, give me the top 4 names of who we should go after. He was one of the names. Right?
Mm-hmm. Who were the other 3? Oh.
he was one of the names. Another name was a legacy kid's name. So that staff was fully vested in West Coast. Right?
Yep.
Well, week before signing day, all those West Coast kids fell off Nebraska. Hey, do you think we can get back in on Joe and so and so? Right? I'm like, I'll call. Made the phone call. One said no. And the other said, let me get back to you. Right? Joe's said, let me get back to you. Came back and said, hey, because there was a coaching change at Ohio State.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
From the previous coaching staff at Nebraska.
Yep.
Right? That guy that didn't want him was at Ohio State.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So they had a one-on-one meeting with him.
Yep.
And the dad called me back and said, hey, he's going to stay committed to Ohio State. Fine. Right? Fast forward. I get a text message from the dad, and he said, hey, you got first dibs. He's going in the portal. We're going to meet with Urban. I passed the message along. Get to a meeting. Hey, Joe's calling. What do you guys think? There was words being said. We had better on the roster. You saw the quote.
I heard that, yeah.
You saw the quote. We had better on the roster. There's the story. Now, he went to LSU and had a really good career. Now, who's to say he was going to have the same career in Nebraska? But, I mean, he had talent around him. We had some talented guys here at that time also.
Yeah.
Right? Divine Ozigbo was the running back. J.D. Spillman, Stanley Morgan was our receivers.
So he had some weapons.
So you had weapons.
I just
look could have been.
I see that. I see that fact of it too. But then I also wonder, what kind of offense they would have put him in. Would they have been stubborn and said, I'm going to run my offense with you in it? Or would they have adjusted for him to put him in an offense where he could be most successful?
You say that, and Joe could run.
Oh yeah, totally. He was Mr. Ohio football.
He could run.
Yeah, he could run.
He could run.
But to get him to where he is now,
you don't know.
Yeah.
You can't say either way. I think he benefited more by going there at that time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In the situation we were in.
Yeah.
So I think he made the right decision. I mean, I still text his dad to this day.
Yeah.
And we're really good friends.
He's a good dude.
Jimmy Burrows,
a
legacy. Him and his brother played at Nebraska.
Yep.
Really good dude.
He was Coach Olich's defense coordinator at Ohio
U. And he and I met at New Mexico State when he was coaching with Tony Samuel.
Yep.
So we've been friends a long time.
Yep.
So I pushed it. I don't make the final say. I don't make the final decision. But so when Bo was let go, Riley's staff comes in, different philosophy, right? You have Tommy Armstrong.
Oh.
Right? You made that comment about will they be willing to do stuff predicated to Tommy's abilities, or they wanted to stay with what they did at the previous school.
Yeah.
Well, they wanted to do what they did at the previous school with the guy that wasn't really fit to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, that guy did a lot of things with his feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got a lot of problems with his feet. So you say the same thing if Joe would have decided to come to Nebraska, would the people decide to do things that to his ability or do things their way?
Yeah.
So you never know.
Yeah, and it's always, I would have to think Ohio State has to look back and say, what were we thinking letting him out? Maybe he should have been the starting quarterback at Ohio State. So it's
I don't think they're looking back like that. They've been pretty good.
They were good at what they had.
They've been pretty good. You can't. Yeah.
Yeah. I always like telling people, I'm like, if Joe Burrow would have came to Nebraska and just the situation, the way things played out, he might have an insurance company right down the road right now, selling insurance.
You got a point with
you
that.
just never know how it would all played out. I think for Joe Burrow and his family, him going to LSU was for the best. I know he's upset, probably has some negative
animosity
feelings towards Nebraska, which, when you grow up as a little kid, like I knew little Joe Burrow, which at the time I didn't know it was going to be Heisman Joe, Joe Cool now, Joe Super Bowl. I did not know that was him, but he was running around up at South Stadium. They used to have the offices in South Stadium, and I still remember him to this day running around South Stadium. It's like, it's crazy to think that little 5-6-year-old kid is, now Joe Burrow, or as he says, he's that man.
So I mean, he's a coach's son. Football's been in his
knowledge.
Life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I take example, the Rudes, right?
Yep.
That's another family.
Yep. Barrett, Bo, and then
Tom. Travis Vokalek, our quarterback this year. His dad was a longtime college coach. He was on staff with Frost for this past season. So there's tutelage there. There's there's DNA. I call it DNA. Football DNA.
Oh yeah.
And Joe had it. His dad had it.
Yep.
Travis had it. His dad had it. So
yeah, that was like me getting so excited yesterday with the fullback recruit.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear the new priority walk-on recruit we got?
So that's another family.
You got Makovic lineage. I want that bloodline.
His two older brothers was on the roster first.
Yeah.
They got him as walk-on.
Yep.
And then he wanted to come, and I was like, listen, they don't use a fullback.
Yep.
Go play somewhere, then maybe you can transfer over. So
right.
Worked out for him.
I like fullbacks.
There you go. I've got my Burrow question on the way. I've got one more question for you.
Uh-oh.
When Bo was leaving, there was talk about maybe Lamar Jackson being interested. Was that
when Bo what?
Before Bo left, when he was he recruited? Was he pretty heavy on Lamar? Was there a chance there?
Yep, he was in 100%. So.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Again, that's what you hear from the outside.
Listen to me. Listen to me. So Lamar comes up. He does our camp, right? Comes for his official visit. I'm his host. I'm the recruiting guy assigned to Lamar Jackson. So I get him to every meeting he needs to get him all the meals. His flight left Monday morning at 6 a.m. So instead of me driving up at 4 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning, we drove him up that night. Lamar was a silent commit to Nebraska.
The
right?
truth is out.
Yeah.
He was a silent commit to Nebraska. We're driving. We get in the van. It's me. His mom's in the passenger seat. Lamar's behind me. He's on his phone, of course. We're driving from Lincoln, Omaha. The hotel we're going to put him in is right across from TD Ameritrade Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
We get halfway to Omaha. Phone rings. Mom's phone rings. Talking in codes on the phone. Now, we're having a really good conversation on the way up from Omaha to Lincoln. She gets that phone call. Conversation stops. Nothing else said till we get to the hotel. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you. We'll be in touch. I said to myself, that bag is dropped off and he is not coming to Yep.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So now he was a silent commit.
Yeah.
He was a silent commit. They did a really good job at touting Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And they sold him on this place.
But that was Bo's staff, right?
That was Bo's staff. Yeah, that was Bo's staff. That was
Yeah.
Bo's last year. That was the summer before Bo's last year.
Who was told, looking back, it was like didn't recruit or didn't like recruiting.
Bo?
Yeah.
He recruited.
Yeah.
Yeah. He recruited.
Yeah. I always felt like that I don't want, you don't have to speak on it because you were there, but the Sean Eichhorst thing from the outside, it certainly looked like, and we heard it from Bo at the rant under a bleeping rock and all that stuff. You could kind of see it though. It kind of like, it felt like, you could say, well, his recruiting wasn't as great toward the end. Well, that's because to me, it felt like the support probably didn't feel that way. It probably felt like he's again, it doesn't take anybody to like look too deep into it. He said at the end of the Iowa game, if you want to fire me, fire my butt. So, it was
man,
interesting.
that conversation, I could not tell you about that conversation, but that was a really interesting conversation.
I bet.
After coming back and beating Iowa,
Yeah.
you have a staff meeting that next day, and oh my God. So, yeah, no, but we talked about it yesterday on air with Sip and Bushman, Bill Bush.
Mm.
The assistant coaches are responsible to recruit.
Yeah.
The head coach seals the deal.
Yep.
Closer.
He comes
He's
in
the
and
closer.
close it down.
Assistant coaches are responsible. You go out and you recruit, you bring them in, and we'll go from there. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, now when it goes time to go make home visits, yeah, Bo's involved.
Yep.
But assistant coaches do all the recruiting. Then the head coach gets involved and they seal the deal. So,
all right, everybody, you're hearing it here. Kenny Whilite live on the Captain. We'll throw it to break. We'll see you in a second. 92.7.